Start with the AFC South, because that's an intriguing division. You get a team like Indianapolis, they go out and they get Phillip Rivers, and people have expectations on them. You get Tennessee, who probably was the biggest surprise in the postseason. You get Houston, who has made as many moves as anybody controversially in the offseason. But, Jimmy, I'll let you start with the Jacksonville Jaguars, a team that looks like it's clearly in rebuilding mode, but they do have 2 first-rounders.
Well, yeah, the only good thing about Jacksonville is they've got a quarterback that's got a mustache better than Tony's.
You're kidding me.
And that's debatable.
It is debatable. Really, they won 6 games last year, and I don't think they're going to be as good this coming year. You look at them, they lose Campbell, they lose Boye, the cornerback. Minshew, maybe a full year. I don't know. Is he going to take a step back, or is he going to get better? But Jacksonville, they may be looking at drafting Lawrence a year from now.
Well, Jimmy, you forgot one good point. Another good thing about Jacksonville is no state tax in Florida.
Yeah. I don't know if that helps them to win any ball games, but I guess that's good.
Trying to be positive.
Taxes. Yeah.
That sounds like that's about all that's positive out there. Like I said, they got the 9th pick and the 20th pick of the first round, so maybe that'll help them there a little bit. All right, let's move on.
Yeah, but I got to say, yes, that team, though, when you think about Jacksonville, you think, imagine a few years ago, they were about to beat the Patriots and should have beaten the Patriots up in New England in the playoffs. So here's a few years removed, but it's been such turmoil, the way that they, like with Tom Coughlin, the way they let Tom Coughlin go. And not just let him go, but you let him go at the end of the season, like a few games to go, like the way they handled that. Calais Campbell getting traded, I thought that was a surprise because he's a beast of a player and a good locker room team leader. So I agree with Jimmy. I just think that the moves that they've made have not been, moves that are going to move them up. I think there are moves that look like they're trying to find something to hopefully build on, but who and what, we'll see.
The problem is the people that are there making the decisions right now might not be there when it's time to reap the benefits of it if they have another season like they've had the last 2 years. The Houston Texans, look, they made the trade that I think caught everybody's attention by making the move with DeAndre Hopkins, sending him out to Arizona, and then getting Brandon Cooks this weekend. They brought in David Johnson. They brought in some names, but it doesn't seem as any of those are as big as what they've lost this season. I mean, is this a make or break kind of campaign for Bill O'Brien and the Texans? Even though they won the season before the last 5 years.
Houston's up 24-0 against the Super Bowl champs, and they lose. And you get rid of your best offensive player, along with Deshaun Watson, obviously, who's there, but you get rid of Hopkins. I mean, this guy was a perennial Pro Bowler, perennial All-Pro, catches everything. Some of the best hands in the league. You let him go and you bring in David Johnson, and no disrespect for David Johnson, but he hasn't had a good year since he had the one good year years ago. So I don't know how much he has left in the tank. And as we all know, running backs kind of at a certain age and at a certain point when the injuries start to mount up, it's very hard for these guys to continue to be productive in their career. And I don't know if Fuller's enough in the receiver. I don't know if Cobb is enough. You're not going to replace Hopkins that easily. And then defensively, you got J.J. Watt, who's 30-something years old. He's only played 32 games in the last 4 years, only completed one full season in the last 4 years. So they have a lot of question marks on that team, and this is a team that's not far removed from almost beating the eventual Super Bowl champions last year. I think Houston's doing the same thing as Jacksonville, and I don't know why they got rid of Hopkins, but I don't think that they're going up. I think that the talent level that they brought in is a step down from what they've had.
The only thing I would say, Michael, is I don't like the personnel moves they've made, at all. I think they've overpaid for some players coming in, and they've lost some good players. And really, with the receiver, he may be the best in the entire league, but they've got a great quarterback, and they're a well-coached team. And that's why they won the division, 4 out of the last 5 years. They're a well-coached football team, and they've got a great quarterback.
Yeah, the only thing that maybe you could see the positive that could come out from this is that you lose that star wide receiver and that guy that when Deshaun Watson got in trouble, we knew what he was going to do. He's going to throw it up, and Hopkins was going to make that play for him. Now that that's taken away or gone now, they have a bunch of really good receivers. I don't think they're a bad group, and maybe that can make them better. It's like a addition by subtraction And now everybody's got to be ready on any given play. And it's going to make Deshaun Watson, he's going to step up. That's all there is to it. At this point, you're not going to have that blanket anymore. You got to become a better quarterback, which I think he can. So I'm anxious to see how he responds to all this.
Hey, Tony, go out. Tony, go outside, take one wheel, take the best wheel off your car and see how well you drive down the road.
I'm trying to find a silver lining here, okay?
That's what they did. Yeah. They took the steering wheel off the car and said, hey.
You know what they say? Hope is not a strategy, Tony. It doesn't quite work. Part of it's the West Division hasn't been that strong. But now if you look going forward, we talked about Indy, which, Jimmy, I want you to talk about in a second. But, Tony, right now, what we're talking about, the Tennessee Titans, they went 7-3 once they made the quarterback change and put in Ryan Tannehill. They went all the way to the AFC Championship game. They beat New England. They beat Baltimore along the way. This team seems to have as bright a future as anybody in this division. They've really taken on the personality of their head coach, Mike Vrabel.
Yeah, I think you said it right there with Coach Vrabel. I mean, a guy, he's been around the league, obviously played for New England Patriots, got to train with Coach Belichick out there. He knows what he's doing. He's a player's coach, but they respect him. They don't take advantage of that. And that running back last year, the big Clydesdale in the back.
Derrick Henry.
Yeah, Derrick Henry. I think building around him and playing good defense, and Ryan Tannehill needed that change of scenery or whatever it is. You always see some players when they go to a different team, a different atmosphere. He's healthy now, too. I think Arthur Smith, the offensive coordinator, he's developed a really good game plan. They have keys. I think this team is going to win the division next year. I think Vrabel might be up for Coach of the Year. I think they've gotten better this offseason. I think A.J. Brown, the rookie wide receiver they had last year, he could be one of the top receivers in the NFL before it's all said and done. But Tannehill, he's the guy. I really love the stride that he made last year. And if he can continue where he left off, this is a team that can make another deep run in the playoffs. I really believe it.
One thing I got to say about Tennessee, when we talk about coaching and Vrabel, one thing I do like about him is we see so many coaches who come from Belichick, who try to be Belichick. Mm-hmm. He's figured out how to be himself and include everything that he's learned under Belichick. He seems a little bit more personable with the players and all that stuff, but I do respect the fact that this guy has figured out I don't have to be Bill Belichick. I could be myself and use the principles that I learned that helped him win. I could use it to help me win as well. And I agree. They have a formula up there in Tennessee that's hard to beat. Run the ball well and just have your quarterback who's efficient, doesn't mess it up.
Yeah, another key pickup that they had, Vic Beasley comes over from Atlanta, who really hadn't played that well. He's going to be in that 3-4 scheme. And guess what Vrabel played when he was in the NFL and played it well. I think Vic Beasley could resurrect his career. He could be another guy who can go out there and get 10, 15 sacks, get back to that level that he was playing at a couple years ago.
Jimmy, what about the Colts and their big pickup this offseason? Obviously, so far, Phillip Rivers. Also, I forget, they got DeForest Buckner in the trade from San Francisco to help out the defense.
Right. Well, Tony talked about Vrabel being maybe a coach of the year, one of the top coaches in the league. I think this division, the top three coaches, they're as good as anybody in the league. I think Bill O'Brien's an outstanding coach. They're a well-coached team. Tennessee, they showed last year how good they were, how well-coached they were. And I think the best coaching, Frank Reich, and their defensive coaches. I mean, you look at Indianapolis, they're a well-coached football team. And I feel Phillip Rivers, I think he's still got a little bit in the tank, and that'll be an addition. And I think they can overcome Houston and really take that division. I really like what they have done there at Indianapolis.
So one thing I got to say, Kurt. Sorry, is that what you said?
I said, Indianapolis wins it. That's my pick for winning the division.
For the best access, perspective, and personalities in all of sports, follow us at Fox Sports on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube.